Hey there, and welcome. So in the world of sustainability reporting, there is just a flood of information, right? Companies are putting out more data than ever before, which, sounds great, but it's creating a whole new problem, complete information overload. So how do we cut through all that noise? Well, it all comes down to one really powerful guiding principle: materiality. And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? We are practically drowning in data these days, but what we really truly need is focus. I mean, whether you're a business trying to tell your story or an investor trying to make a smart decision, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple thing: what information actually has the power to make someone change their mind? So to really get our heads around that, we're going to go on a little journey today. We'll kick things off with where this whole idea of materiality even came from. Then we'll look at how investors have traditionally used it and watch how it's changing right before our eyes. We're even going to dive into this huge idea of double materiality before we wrap it all up and talk about what this means for businesses like yours. Sound good? Let's jump in. Okay, first things first. What in the world is materiality? To really get it, we actually have to go back in time a little bit and look at why it was even created. Think of it like a balancing act. On one hand, regulators needed to make sure investors were protected. But on the other, they couldn't just bury companies in endless paperwork, demanding every single tiny detail. Materiality was the answer. It's basically a filter that separates the essential, need-to-know stuff from the less critical, nice-to-know information. And this right here, this really gets to the heart of it. It's a simple but incredibly powerful deal. If a piece of information could realistically make an investor pause and think twice about buying or selling a stock, then it's material. And that means the company has to disclose it. It's pretty much the foundational rule of the entire game.
And that rule brings us to the classic definition, which, for decades, has been seen almost exclusively through the eyes of an investor. This is what we call traditional financial materiality. Okay, so it all comes down to a really simple test. If we left this piece of info out or got it wrong, could that influence the decisions of the people putting money into the company? We're talking specifically about investors, lenders, creditors. The focus here is absolutely laser sharp. Does this affect the company's future cash flows, its access to finance, its overall enterprise value? In this traditional view, that's really the only thing that counts.
Now, this traditional view has a few key details. First, it's designed for an informed investor, not necessarily a total beginner. It also aims to serve the common needs of investors as a whole, not the specific whim of every single person. And context is everything. $1 million issue means something completely different to a huge global company than it does to a small startup. And maybe most importantly, especially as we talk about sustainability, material issues are not always about dollars and cents. Think about a major product safety flaw. That is hugely material, even if you can't put an exact price tag on it right away.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Materiality isn't some static rule set in stone. Not at all. What matters to investors and to society, it changes. This concept is alive and it's constantly evolving.
And you can see this journey perfectly with the issue of plastic pollution. I mean, think back 20 years ago. An investor probably wouldn't have cared less about a company's plastic packaging. But then, public opinion started to shift. People started voting with their wallets. Then governments got involved, creating new rules. And suddenly, that plastic packaging became a direct financial risk, hitting both costs and revenues. An issue that started as a social concern is now, without a doubt, financially material because it directly impacts how an investor makes decisions. And this evolution didn't just stop there. It actually pushed the whole idea of materiality into brand new territory, creating a second perspective that looks way beyond just the financial impact. This is where impact materiality enters the picture.
With impact materiality, the question completely flips. It's not just how does the world affect the company's bottom line anymore. Now it's asking how do the company's operations affect the world? The focus is squarely on the organization's biggest external impacts: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So the audience suddenly gets a lot bigger. It's not just about investors anymore. It's about customers, employees, and the communities the company works in. The perspective shifts from looking outside in to looking inside out, from the company's actions out into the world. And the goal, which is really championed by groups like the Global Reporting Initiative, is to be transparent about how a company is either helping or harming the world around it. So now we have these two powerful but pretty different points of view. One is looking in, the other is looking out. So what happens when you smash them together? Well, you get the most complete approach we've seen yet: double materiality. At its core, double materiality isn't some crazy new idea.
It's really a powerful framework that forces companies to look in two directions at the same time. You have to assess both how the world is impacting your finances and how your own operations are impacting the world. It's all about seeing the whole picture.
Let's just break this down side by side to make it super clear. Traditional financial materiality is purely outside in. It's asking, how do things like climate change or new laws create financial risks for the company? The goal is all about assessing the company's value. Double materiality includes that, but it also adds that inside-out view. It asks, how do our operations affect the environment and society? This dual perspective, looking at both enterprise value and societal impact, is quickly becoming the new standard, especially in places like Europe. And this, folks, is the real game changer. It's an admission that a company's long-term value is completely tangled up with its impact on the world.
Okay, that's a whole lot of theory. So how does this actually play out in the real world? What does all this mean for a business that's just trying to figure things out?
Now, this might look a little complicated, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. It's all about drawing a direct line from a sustainability issue to financial performance. Let's take product safety in the car industry, for instance. A recall isn't just a safety problem, it's a massive, direct hit to revenue and to your brand's reputation. Making these kinds of connections is the secret to showing investors why sustainability isn't just some nice-to-have thing. It's a core driver of business value.
So, you see, getting a real handle on materiality is so much more than just checking a box for a regulator. It's like a strategic superpower. It helps you see risks coming from a mile away, uncover new opportunities you might have missed, and tell a much more powerful, complete story about how your business is creating value, not just for your shareholders, but for everyone.
So, as we've walked through, there are different lenses you can use to look at your business: the financial lens, the impact lens, or that combined double view. The most resilient, most successful companies of the future will be the ones that learn to master all of them. And that leaves you with one final question to think about. Is your business looking through the right lens? I hope this gave you some things to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me.